Wax on the wax off. The old Karate Kid reference for you guys. I can never tell if it's actually live. There's always a little bit of a delay on Facebook, but I think we're here. I think we're good. I think we're going to get into some questions here that you guys have thrown at us. We got some really good stuff this week. A lot of you guys have been curious about the mastermind. If you're interested in that, I've just got a video. We don't do sales calls on our stuff, so you can check it out on your own terms, see if it's a fit for you. I will tell you it will best help you if you are between 15 or 5, and I should say like 15 to 20 clients. What's up, Sabo? And if you're doing that and you're looking to scale and do it without meetings and phone calls, which is kind of a specialty of ours. So if that's you, reach out. I'll send you a video. No frills. Nobody's going to harass you or anything like that. Let's get into some of the questions. Our man Randy asks, do we need a client to have an active Facebook business page with regular content in order to run a successful Facebook ads campaign? Randy, the answer is no. No, you do not. In fact, I have never had an active Facebook page ever. And I've had lots of successful Facebook ad campaigns, both for myself and clients. Having said that, if it's something that you're going to use and share, like there's definitely benefits to following up with people and boosting posts, especially if you got a little local business. Restaurants and stuff like that tend to work really well with those kind of businesses. But no, you do not need to have an active Facebook page. In fact, as long as the ad's good enough, you can actually just have one ad and build your entire business around one Facebook ad. Next question, Farha. In what scenarios combination of Facebook ads and Google ad would be best? Scenario A, running Facebook ads first, then Google ads. B, running Google ads first, then running Google ads first, then I think that should say Facebook ad. Is it a good strategy for lead generation campaigns? Farha, I think you're thinking too much about getting locked into platforms. Here's the deal, right? Different niches are in different places. Okay, like I call the contractor niches, like, you know, landscaping and roofing and all those things. I call them the redneck niches. A lot of those guys are just, they don't even have Facebook profiles. They're in person. So if you're trying to reach those people, you got to go in person. You got to go direct mail. You got to call them. If you're trying to reach somebody who's like actively searching for you, like, you know, say you do weight loss, there's searches all day long, then Google would make a whole lot of sense, especially with all the Facebook restrictions. If you're trying to reach a lawyer, it might make more sense to go on LinkedIn. So there's no one size fits all. There's usually about 4 or 5 places. Go where your clients are already. Don't get locked into, I have to do Facebook ads, I have to do Google ads. Go where the clients are. So the question you should be asking is not, should I be doing Google or should I be doing Facebook? You should be asking, like, where are the people already? How can I go get in front of those people? So when you do that, that's how the medium shows it. When I first started marketing to lawyers, I went on LinkedIn, not because I'm so in love with LinkedIn, but there just weren't a lot of lawyers on Facebook in 2015. And so I went where they are. And so you should do the same thing. And then what'll happen is it makes sense to use whatever campaigns make sense for that. Yusuf, concerning Facebook media buying, any tips on how to target e-commerce store owners, DTC brands, entrepreneurs, marketing agencies? Is my first time running ads for B2B agency. Thanks a lot. Any direction is highly appreciated. Yusuf, just so you know, those are probably about 4 different ads and 4 different niches you're trying to target. You can't do that in a single ad. But having said that, we have a go-to thing, and I'll tell you, the most important thing when you're targeting is not just to get in front of those people. It's to get in front of the people who buy and spend money and actually actively take out their credit cards in those niches. And I used this analogy before, but it's really helpful to help you guys understand it. A lot of what we do is like selling shoes. Like, I want you to use the analogy of selling shoes. If what we tend to think about is the people who need what we do the most, and that's like marketing to somebody who's barefoot, because, hey, we sell shoes, they need shoes, and so we tend to oftentimes chase a lot of businesses that don't really need or don't really pay for what we do. And actually what you want to do is go after somebody who has a closet full of 200 pairs of shoes and be the person selling the 201th pair, if you will, or 201st. I don't know, it's actually correct. So how this translates into targeting is, I always look at the best way to target people is based on other things they're already buying. So one of the things I'll do is I'll target other gurus in the niche. I will target associations that they may be part of. So like there's a personal injury lawyers association, and there's all kinds of state bar associations. Another thing I'll do is I'll target the software. So I'll give you an example. In the agency space, there's a group for go high level people. There's like 10,000 people all buying the software. Now again, this is a software that's anywhere from like 100 to like I think $500 a month. Those are all buyers. So when I go in there and I'm friending people that I know are buying stuff right now in this agency space. So I want you guys to really think about that in your space. And I'd say those are the fastest 3 ways to do it. And you can also do what they read, but if you can target based on the gurus that they follow, especially gurus who sell stuff and have courses. Like if I was selling motivation and they were already buying motivation from Tony Robbins, that's a good start. So the gurus, the associations, what they read, and the software and tools that they use. And what you'll do is you'll find yourself, your audience size will probably be a little smaller, but you'll have way more buyers in them, and you'll have way more results. You'd be amazed what you can do with little small audiences that are predominantly buyers. Stanley, anyone had success with YouTube ads for e-commerce? Have tried setting up basic funnel structures to no avail. Would love any groups, resources you could point to, if ever. Stanley, there's a couple of good YouTube groups. So having said that, the question is not, do Facebook ads work for e-commerce? Because almost always, if you go into any niche, sorry, I got a bird over here that's distracting me. In any niche, there's people having success and there's people not having success. So you don't want to ask the question, can it work? Because a lot of people will tell you it can't, and a few will tell you it can. You want to focus on those who are making it work. What are they doing? And I would tell you what I just answered in the last question, getting in front of the buyers. So what gurus do they follow? What software do they use? What associations, groups do they belong to? What do they buy? That's a huge start to getting YouTube ads right, is getting in front of the buyers in the first place. So that'll help you. Having said that, there's a guy that I follow named Alaric, who's got a good YouTube group. I would suggest checking that out. It's on Facebook. Jeff, agency owners, what cloud storage are you using for your agency, especially for internal files and client files? What are your thoughts on the security, shareability, flexibility, different folder sharing structures, usability, cost efficiency for larger teams of each of the solutions, and why are you using what you're using? Jeff, we predominantly use good old-fashioned Google Drive. It's mostly enough, and occasionally I'd use Dropbox. I got a paid Dropbox account for like, I don't know, $10 a month or something like that. But for the most part, like Google Drive is good enough, and what I would suggest is actually as a whole, and I'm not saying like you're doing this, but as a whole, think about having less files and thinking about having a better service with less moving pieces, so you don't need mounds of document sharing and things like that. Like one of the worst things you can do, if you're under like $3 million a year in your agency, you really should only have one key service, or maybe two if you're like me and you have entrepreneurial ADD and you get bored easily. But when you start having like 10 offerings, or you're doing 20 different things for clients, you're doing too many things and you're going to have too many documents, and it's going to be way unnecessarily complex, and it doesn't need to be. AJ, share your best client onboarding or retention tip. AJ, this is a loaded one. I would say I got 3. I hope you're okay with me giving 3 tips here. Number 1 is obviously you won't keep clients happy without results. Now, having said that, a lot of people think if you just magically get results that clients will stay forever, and that is not my experience. Most agencies keep people 3 to 4 months. That's the average, and we keep people years. Okay, so that's the first thing is, like I said, you got to be able to make something happen for them that's positive. Second thing is actually like proactive communication is such a big deal. Is if you're sending a monthly report, then you're already doing it wrong. I call it the accordion structure, and it's really, really simple. An accordion like can compress or contract in time. Once a client's been with you for a year and you're getting them a whole bunch of results and you trust each other and you know each other, you could probably talk to them once a month for 10 minutes and that would be enough. But in the beginning, when they first sign up, you need to make a big deal out of every little thing you do. We installed your Pixel. Here's a little update about this, about that. And all of that fosters trust. And the more you do that, the more they'll just leave you alone. And this actually eliminates all the meetings and things like that. And then the third thing, and this is actually the secret thing that I would say most agencies lack, is extras. So I'll give you a real life example. Like I just sent one of my clients there's this company called Mix Tiles. And Mix Tiles makes like little pictures that are Just little square pictures you hang up on the wall, and they're really good for collages, and you could put like 10 or 12 of them together or whatever. Well, I went through and I found a really nice picture of him and his kid, because he told me he hasn't really seen his son a lot because he's working long hours, which is really common in the legal profession. So I sent him a couple of pictures to hang on the wall of him and his son, including my favorite one of him that I just grabbed from Facebook. The mixed tiles cost about $10 a picture. And he hung them up on his wall, and he's really, really stoked, and he gets to look at his kid, and it brought a smile to his face. And he remembers what he's doing it all for. Those are the things that keep clients longer, not because your Facebook ads are so awesome. And you know, when I first learned this, I was doing consulting for a really big personal injury lawyer firm in Jacksonville. And they said to me something of the effect of, can you check out our SEO and our competition and all that, and let us know, like, no bullshit, how we're doing. And I had done SEO for years. I don't do it anymore, but I know what to look for and all that. So I basically showed them that their SEO agency hadn't done shit for them in quite a long time. And this SEO agency, what blew my mind is they were paying them $10,000 a month, and they had been paying them for over 10 years. So if you do the math, by the way, that's $1.2 million from one client. $1.2 million in collected SEO fees, and they weren't even doing a good job. And I asked him, like, you know, how come you've stayed with this company so long? And his answer was, well, we go golfing every Friday. And so it's those close personal relationships and those extra touches, and not because the SEO was so brilliant. So the more you can build actual real relationships with clients and do little extras, you'll keep them far, far longer than just with, you know, Facebook ads or SEO or web design alone, or AdWords or whatever it is you do. Nick, I'm creating Facebook lead campaigns but never know when leads are in. I'm thinking of setting up a landing page and sending prospects there, but how do I get notified when leads arrive on that landing page? Is there a notification system available on the landing page? If so, who? Nick, we use lead pages for our landing pages, and you can set up multiple notifications so it can automatically be added to your CRM, which in our case is Aweber. It can also add people, or it can send you a notification if you want to do that, so you can do that as well. Also, any other landing page software, you can set up those notifications by connecting it with Zapier. I don't know all the ins and outs. I hate all the tech, but I'm sure you can figure it out, and I'm sure there's a tutorial on there somewhere. Bobby, with the cost of ad spend increasing, a lot of companies are considering taking a break from ads or looking for new ways to generate new business every month. What are your thoughts? Bobby, this is a thing that I think is really, really important, is when you go after clients, a lot of times people, again, going back to what I said earlier about the shoe buyers, is we approach companies that aren't really marketing and then try and convince them to market. And I think as a long-term thing, you'll have way better success marketing to people that always spend money, rain or shine, because they know marketing is really important to their business. So when I go into a law firm, for example, if they're not already spending money on a website and SEO and AdWords or something like that, or Facebook, or some combination of those things, that gives me serious room for pause. I've had lawyers that I tried to convince to advertise, and I remember there was one guy, I think it was $100 or $200 in our ads pause. Now in the legal space, for pay-per-click, you can spend $100 just on a single click in this niche. So for somebody to pause an ad campaign after $200, and it's like putting one toe in the water and going, "Ooh, the water's cold." And those kind of clients are always toying with the idea of, should I advertise, not, and then they spend a little bit of money and turn it off. And those people, I would say, just don't deal with those kind of clients. Don't deal with people who think spending money on marketing to grow their business is optional, and instead deal with real businesses that do this. So one of the things I look for in a client, like I said, is, are they spending money now? And I don't try and convince them, well, ad costs are going up, you should still keep doing it. Having said that, there's always, you should always be looking for new and exciting ways to market. But a lot of times, if you're just in the game, those kind of clients will bring the ideas to you. Like I had a client who said, hey, would you be willing to try and see if we can make some money on TikTok and run ad campaigns there? I've already got all the videos, so there's not really that much for us to do. I said, why not? Let's give it a shot. And if it works, I've got a case study for something else that nobody else will have. I could be the only guy with lawyer personal injury TikTok ads. So you should be looking at those new and exciting opportunities. But having said that, if they're just like one foot in the water, and then, oh, the water's cold and don't spend money, just don't deal with those kind of clients. You don't have to. It's your agency. Christopher, What's a reasonable price to charge for a 5-page WordPress website? Christopher, I'm going to give you a couple of useful guidelines on this. Firstly, as far as your question, the direct answer is, I don't know, I would say typical is like $1,500 to like $3,000 for your average 5-page kind of brochure kind of website. But having said that, Christopher, I want to give you a little bit of advice here for how to raise your fees and have clients be okay with it. When I used to work a lot in SEO in the beginning, most of my work was with plastic surgeons, and there was a competing company called MedNet. And MedNet used to charge $40,000 for a website, 40000. And here was the interesting thing, is the plastic surgeons didn't even own their own website. It was just a 2 or 3 year lease. And at the end of 2 or 3 years, they had to either pay $40,000 again or get something else designed. And they were the biggest company in the plastic surgery space. I've got some new home construction going on next to me. I might move if it gets too loud. So spending $40,000 on a website, and you may be asking, why would anybody pay $40,000 for a basic 5-page website? And it's because if you're a plastic surgeon, you think, well, my average patient's 20 grand. If I just get two people, that would be worth it. So the biggest thing you can do to raise your website fees is to firstly who you aim that website for, right? If you make a website for a plastic surgeon, you're going to get more money than if you do it for like a student graphic designer. So that's the first tip. And then the second is who they target on their website. Just as we mentioned, you guys have heard me beat the nickel and the $100 bill together. But in like plastic surgery, for example, mommy makeovers typically are like a $40,000, $50,000 procedure. So if I design a website for a plastic surgeon for a mommy makeover, and I say, hey, it's $50,000, and he says, that's a lot of money. And I say, well, if you just get one patient from it, you'll break even. You're going to get 50 grand for a 5-page website. So think a lot about not just making a website, but who you make it for, and then who that website is designed to try and attract. And you'll be able to raise your fees substantially on your web design and do a whole lot less and make a whole lot more money and have people be happy about it. Gabriel, PPC agencies, what is the one program you run for your clients? I like this question, Gabriel, because it implies you should be doing just one thing for clients, and I think that's generally true. Like, you don't want to have a whole menu. You know, I see this a lot in my hometown of Windsor, Ontario, Canada. There's a lot of mediocre restaurants, and they all have the same basic menu. Here's our appetizers, here's our burgers, here's our pizzas, here's our pastas, and they just do a lot of things mediocre. That's most agencies. If you can do just one focused thing, you're going to have much better success. And I call this the niche within the niche. You want to be thinking not just about a niche, but a niche within a niche. And the reason why you want to do this, by the way, is I found in any sort of lifestyle agency, if you're not trying to grow this to like a $50 million sell it kind of one day agency, almost always 100 clients is more than you'll ever want to have. So you're never going to have more than 100 clients. So if you think really hard about like having the best 100 clients and being known for something to those 100 clients, you'll do so much better. And then you build your one solution around that. It's going to be a little bit different for everybody. So I don't have like a one size fits answer, but you know, there's a lot of ways to do that correctly. Christos, how long do you retain a client on average? 2 years. My oldest client has been with me since 2009, and it's I'll tell you, retention is actually the game. A lot of people think like when I go in groups, people are really impressed if you go, I made a sale, and they show a screenshot of money. But if that client leaves after 3-4 months, then every 3-4 months you got to build a brand new agency, which means more sales calls, more prospecting, more running ads, more proposals, all that kind of things that, you know, frankly just aren't a lot of fun. And when you nail retention, the payments just come in. You start the month ahead knowing that you've got cash in the bank before you even lift a finger. And it makes financial life a whole lot easier. You know, you still have to obviously manage clients and things like that. And when you get this piece, so the first thing I'm looking for in an agency is that actual retention. Is people always tell me about their sales and how they need more sales, and I want to know how long they're keeping people, because otherwise it's one step forward, 2 steps back, and you don't really get anywhere. I've always said this: nobody posts a picture of payment number 13 you get from a client, but payment number 13 is actually way more important than payment 1. So you want to think about retention and get that, you know, dialed in the first place. What is a common myth your clients seem to believe? I'll tell you, this is from Josh. I think a lot of clients think that what we do is push button, that it's binary, it works or it doesn't, and they don't realize that it's meaningful gains forward, that you might get leads on day one, and then you nurture those leads, and some of those leads turn into business, and some of them don't, and you follow up. I think they just think it's like turn on a button and it automatically works. And but a lot of that can be avoided by just dealing with clients who have been in the game long enough and actually understand what it really takes to work. But you see this in the form of clients who think they can be number one in Google overnight, or that you control Google and all those kind of things. And I think one of the things your communication is designed to do is to address the myths they have in their mind and to redefine what an actual win is. So, like, for example, in our first month of running motorcycle cases, very rarely does their phone ring, because we just get a bunch of leads on Facebook and we start nurturing them. So what I say is like, hey, we're just starting out. All we're looking to do is get a bunch of little leads, and these are like seeds we put in the ground that we're going to water every day. And some of these seeds will flourish in 3 months, and some in 6, and some in a year. But all we're looking for is that we're getting affordable seeds put in the ground, and that's it. And if we do that, we're going to win. And so you can redefine those client expectations in a really cool way when you understand that they believe it's supposed to be automatic. Tyler, what are you all using for approvals of deliverables? We sometimes struggle getting comments and a green light from clients for graphics, Facebook posts, etc. Wondering if there's good software out there for it. Tyler, I don't know about software, but I will tell you there's a structure and an issue with. And I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying as long as you sell custom web design, you're going to have this issue. What I would suggest doing is when you sell a really beautiful, amazing website, let's say like you make a website for a dentist in New York, well, there's 49 other states that a dentist could use that exact same website with minimal modification. So instead of trying to sell everybody a custom solution, which is not nearly as valuable as we think it is, think about how you can resell those things over and over. We've got a guy like doing cleaning stuff, and one of the conversations we just had was like, hey, instead of building everybody a new custom cleaning website, take this beautiful one that's working, that has some advantages, that it can do quotes, and just go up to other people who could use that and say, hey, I'll give you this website, try it for 2 months free, and if you like it, I'll install it, I'll set everything up, and if you like it, then you can just pay me $199 a month for as long as you want to lease it. There's no contracts or anything like that. And if they use that for 2 years, he's going to sell that website for $2,500 and have almost no design work and graphics and all that stuff to create. So I'm just saying, Tyler, I think that's a better structure than basically what I call the client ping pong, which happens especially in custom web design, where you say, what do you think of this? And then you wait for them to give you an answer, and then they say, I want these 3 changes. And then you say, okay, can you send me a picture for this? And then you wait, and it goes back and forth, and that whole thing takes 6 months. You can take a website you've already made, sell it 49 other times, and have an asset that you can use again and again. Lucian, what big problems have you faced since reaching 100 grand a month in revenue? There's 2, Lucian. People, systems. Those are the 2 big ones what you get when you get to 100 grand. People, in terms of you're always looking for really good people, and trying out people is its own little battle. Finding good people that don't weigh you down is always a little bit of a struggle. And then the processes and the systems is as you get bigger and bigger, more and more balls get dropped, and what happens is people start coming to you as the manager of the company all day long and saying, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And if you treat all those equally, what'll happen is you'll be busy all day doing unimportant shit. So you got to kind of manage it more proactively. For those of you who are in stage 3, the biggest thing I would say is get your reports in order, get your key performance indicators, and then use those to focus your efforts instead of just reacting to the onslaught of shit that comes at you from clients and employees. Harvey, hi guys, I'm new to creating ads, so wondering what kind of budget I would need to start running my own ads for my side business. The business sells home teeth whitening kits. We operate out of the UK, but we'll ship, target international countries also. Any tips would be appreciated. Harvey, this is just my experience. It sounds like in your case, you don't have a huge budget and you're trying to figure out what you realistically need to make it work. Almost always when you turn on paid ads with something new that's been untested, excuse me, you're going to lose money before you make it. That's just the nature of the game of paid ads. So this is my personal philosophy, and it's not the only way to be successful, but I'm not telling you this is the way. But this is a way that's worked really good for us. is get your offers and get your messaging dialed in organically. Like, go in front of whoever these people are buying teeth whitening and figure out your messaging on the organic side. Because for me, like when I use paid ads, I don't like to lose money. So like in the lawyer case, for example, I went to a bunch of LinkedIn groups. I tried a bunch of messaging. Most of it didn't work, by the way. And I didn't know what I knew about offers and things like that when I first started this in like 2015 in that niche. But one of the things that I did was I eventually figured out, like I had a post that said 7 secrets of the world's most successful attorneys, and I had like hundreds and hundreds of people share it and all these comments, and almost everything else I posted had about 0. And I immediately, or 1 or 2, and so suddenly like one post got hundreds and hundreds of people, and I realized I had found a good meaningful hook. And once I did that organically, guess what I ran in paid ads? That exact messaging, that exact hook. So you can test all your stuff organically for free and get all your tooth whitening stuff dialed in, because if it doesn't work for free, it ain't going to work when you suddenly turn on the ads machine. Hey, what's up, Rim? So what you want to do is like find out, get it working, get the basic structure in place, and then use paid ads to amplify it. I think that's a better strategy. Having said that, for your question, I personally would not start a paid ads campaign for like something if I didn't at least have a few $1,000s minimum to waste through. If you got a few $1,000s, you just go straight to paid ads and test it. It'll be faster than organic. But if you want to like, do it in a way where it sounds like where you don't have a huge budget, test it organically. Don't run into paid ads. And then when you have it, the messaging and the offer working organically, then turn on the paid ads and amplify it, and you'll find you'll get more results out of it. That looks like all the questions we got this week. So that's all I got for you guys, really. I guess much love to you guys. And like I said, if you're interested in getting that video, let me know and I'll send it to you. I'm going to do actually a little bit of really cool training for you guys in the next little bit to show you guys how to write the best message you've ever written. I call it the unfair advantage, and it's basically by not writing a word of copy. I hear all the time people say, well, I'm not a great writer. And here's the thing, you don't need to be, because the best copy does not come from you, it comes right out of your client's mouth. And when you understand that, it's just a matter of copy and pasting what they've already shown to be super valuable. So I'll catch you guys a little bit later this week in that, and that's all I got for you guys. Much love, and may the force be with you.